I'm still waiting for the new Dragon Ball Bridge episode.
Yeah. Did you see the short video with One Punch Man?
Yeah, yes I did. I thought it was funny.
It made me laugh. But, I mean, I don't really know One Punch Man that well.
I thought the Yu-Gi-Oh one was the
Oh,
funny.
sorry, are we filming?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I was just checking my Facebook. There was an article there about Peeps Oreos, and that if you eat too many of them, they'll turn your poop pink.
Oh, that doesn't sound tasty at all. A peep in an Oreo.
So eat Peeps Oreos at your own risk.
Have you checked the resources?
By the way, we should probably get back to this episode. With that side note, we'd like to welcome you to the Trey J Show. This is episode 5? Sure. 5th episode, yep, 5th episode of, I'm getting that from our producer, telling me that is the 5th episode of the Trey J Show. With me today is Andrew and Adam to talk about Facebook and the positives, the negatives, just how to use Facebook from a Christian perspective, I think. So to start off with, I just want to get their experience with Facebook, and then I'll talk about my experience with Facebook. So first we'll start with Andrew.
I mean, I guess to start with, at this point, I would be considered an older user of Facebook, I guess, being someone in my 30s. But yeah, I actually have been on Facebook pretty much since it started. I was in college when Facebook started. You know, I had my account since back in the day when you originally had to have a school email address to sign up before they opened it up to everybody. It was just for college kids. So yeah, back when I was at Calvin, it was a good tool at that point for connecting with other kids at Calvin and other college students. Nowadays, mostly I use Facebook. I play a lot of Ultimate Frisbee. So I use it to keep in contact and keep updated on what's going on in the Ultimate Frisbee community. If there's, pickup games going on, if there's a hat tournament, other tournaments going on, that kind of stuff. Keep up with the teams that I play with and kind of the people I play Ultimate with is a lot of what I use it for. I mean, honestly, I use Facebook Messenger more than I use actual Facebook at this point. I'm on Messenger talking with people and communicating that way a lot with people as well. So that's kind of my experience with it.
How about you, Adam?
I mostly use Facebook for, like Andrew, mostly use it for Messenger, and I also like to scroll through it to see some of the more funny stories that are probably not true, but are hilarious, and usually comic news and geek news in general. Keep up with that.
Yeah. I mean, like my brother, my Facebook use goes back to late when I was in college was when I first signed up for Facebook. Again, with my Calvin email address. So, I mean, I've been on Facebook for a while. I've never really been an avid poster on Facebook. Every once in a while I'll post something. I mean, nowadays my wife posts stuff about the family and just tags me in it, which works perfectly fine. I don't have to worry about it. I mean, sometimes I'll use Facebook to but just see what's going on in the lives of people that are in other states. I mean, it's a nice tool for that type of thing, keeping in contact with people, friends and family that have moved to other parts of the country or outside of the country, But beyond that, yeah, a lot of it is Messenger and that kind of thing. I mean, like the small group Bible study I'm a part of, we have a private group set up that we're all members of, that we can mention when meetings are and what we're going to do with that meeting and that kind of thing. There's a lot of what we use that for. And then Messenger we do that with Trey J. We use Messenger for getting hold of the main people, the people involved with certain things. But yeah, beyond that, I mean, I'm not a huge avid poster or anything. Every once in a while I scroll through the news feed to see what's going on. So with that said, one of the things I want to talk about with Facebook is a lot of how Facebook gets used by different things. I mean, like I've mentioned and like they've mentioned, there's a lot of positives to Facebook, being able to keep in contact with people, and it works well for setting things up to get large groups of people, such as, Ultimate Frisbee or small group Bible studies or, that kind of thing. It works really great. They got great tools for that part of things, which is a lot of how we use it. There's also a lot of what I guess you can call abuse or negatives as well that go on. And one of them is, Adam kind of hit on it with fake news and stories that are only not true at all. They're just made up, baloney, And the fact that that's there is we click on it and then Well, we're sorry about that interruption. That's one of the negatives about Facebook, actually, is the fact that with cell phones, we're so connected to it that we can't not interact with it. You know, we sit down to, oh yeah, let's get together and hang out, and then all we're doing is scrolling our Facebooks and keeping track of what's going on Facebook, you know, so we can see what everybody's doing, and we get so enamored with that we're constantly checking Facebook, we're constantly posting on Facebook. You know, sometimes it amazes me, some people, with what, you know, how crazy they are at making sure everything is on Facebook, you know, and there's so many things that happen on Facebook where you're reading these posts and it's like, why are you posting that on Facebook? You know, that's like the stuff that you share with like your like close friends, not like the world. So,
I was gonna say something. I mean, part of it is a different generation. I mean, for you and me, we're both in our 30s. We came from, you know, we were when Facebook started, where you didn't really have the status updates. I mean, I was on Facebook well before you could post a status update. It was literally you had your wall, and then your friends you connected to, and then you could make groups. And then you could post stuff on people's walls, and they could post on your wall. But you didn't have status updates. That was something that came much later. So it's something that like I never got into. It's like I rarely ever, like I don't think I've honestly ever posted a status update. But I mean, younger kids, like that's always been there. That's what they do. Like we're much more private. Older generations are much more private. Our generation, being in our 30s and plus, is much more private than the younger generation. They'll post stuff because that's just what they do. Like they're not as concerned about that level of privacy. It's something that takes time getting used to. It's something that you have to balance out for yourself personally. Like there comes a point where it's like, well, is that something you should be sharing? And in some cases, sharing things that can be good. You can share about how, you know, in some cases how you're feeling depressed and stuff, and people can, you know, your friends and your contacts can kind of gather around you and help build you up. And that can be a very positive thing on Facebook. It can also destroy you. There's people who aren't going to, they're going to take that time to try to destroy you instead of trying to build you up. You know, because Facebook and stuff has led to bullying. But actually, a question I had more specifically geared towards you as somebody, as a father, when you said earlier about your wife posting stuff on Facebook, and I know because I'm in contacts with you and your wife both on Facebook, she posts a lot of stuff about your son. You know, pictures, updates on your son himself, and you know, she's pregnant again, and you know, with your upcoming kid. How comfortable are you with all of the stuff that she posts, and how comfortable, because like there's definitely families out there who post a lot more than even your wife does on their kids. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, I mean, it's hard for me to have an opinion not being a father, but as somebody who is a father.
That's actually a very interesting thing to bring up, because there's actually some expert/research starting to be done on that very topic. And the point of that topic is kids who are about 9, 10 years old right now, you go back about 9, 10 years old, that's when Facebook really started going huge and social media really started going huge. And what you're noticing now with these 9, 10-year-olds is their entire life is on the internet. And what that means, and what's meant by that is the fact that from the day they were born, or even before they were born, if you got your ultrasound photos on Facebook, their parents have been posting pictures of them and the things they've been doing and short videos of them learning to walk and all that stuff on like Facebook. So you can, if you click, you know, so these kids, you can go to their parents' pages and see pretty much their life story because it's there from the day they were born. This is a new phenomenon because for us, that didn't happen. I mean, you had a few pictures, you know, you took pictures, but they were put in a cat book or something, and that's how they were. They weren't out there for everybody. And it's really, and that's really started to be huge for these kids because it's not even per se what you're running into is they don't even have much say in their privacy because and they just grew up that way. It's already out there, you know. These baby pictures of me and all that stuff are on my parents' Facebook page. And I mean, I don't know, I can't say whether it's good or bad or whatever, but it's definitely an intriguing thing because, yeah, it's like how much of your child's life story. It's like, yeah, you want to share these great moments that happen, you know, with your friends and all that stuff. So you post them, but the question that comes up even for us parents is how much of our kids' lives do we want out there? Are we participating in putting their lives out there? You know, and these kids, like I said, it's about that 10-year-old age right now, but they're starting to become teenagers and beyond. And it's a conversation that teenagers run into all the time. It's one of those things that you push hard on is be very wise with what you post because it can affect you long range. I mean, you post it out there, I mean, a lot of employers these days, all they do is pull up Google and type in your name if you're in that, you know, to see what pops up. I mean, and, yeah, you might be like, well, what are they doing that for? Who cares? I mean, you're the one who put it out there.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, you run into the fact that there's gonna be stuff that's gonna come up that you really didn't have anything to do with. A friend posts a picture on Facebook and tags you in it, or somebody else posts it on Facebook and tags you in it, you know? And that's where this whole caution, being wise with what you post, is it's not just you per se, it's anybody else that's in that picture that you're tagging, you know? As well as what you're posting about other people. And that's where the bullying thing's in. One of the big things that has been happening with Facebook is this whole thing called Facebook Live lately, you know, and there's actually been teenagers who have committed suicide live on Facebook, you know, because Facebook didn't catch it quick enough. They try to pull those videos as fast as they can, but if they don't catch it right away, poof, you know. And the thing that worries you about that is, you know, okay, I'm gonna, you know, you see copycats, you know, this person posted it, and then it's this huge story because the media does that, sensationalizes it. So then somebody else is like, well, you know, they're depressed and beat up, so well, at least I can hit my 30 seconds of fame or whatever via this, or let the world know, and, you know, and it's that idea of, it's like you said, I mean, kids, teenagers these days is a completely different mindset that we're just now even grasping some of these effects of it, and the effects of Facebook, because, you know, they're not even thinking about the fact that they just posted their death live on Facebook. They're just thinking, I'm just going to post it on Facebook, you know, I'm going to use Facebook Live and let everybody know, or whatever. Like, their mindset is completely different. Just like I said, I mean, they're so used to it that it's just ingrained in them.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for you, Adam, as somebody who's, you know, you're much younger than me and Dave, you're like 10 plus years younger than me, as somebody who's grown up much more with Facebook being there a bigger part of your life, like, it's been there a lot longer, you know, it's been like half your life. You're like about 20 and it's been there, you know, the past 10 years. You know, as opposed to me, it's only been like a third of my life. Like, how do you view Facebook from that standpoint? Like, do you see, like, with the posting and the status updates, like, is it something you feel more with your generation and, like, younger people, you know, teens and even younger than yourself? Like, because we're at the point now where there's kids who are born who have never not had Facebook. So, from that standpoint, like, what's some insight that you have on that, like, with posting and sharing?
There's kind of an unspoken rule when it comes to my generation of the best part about social media, everyone has a voice. The worst part, everyone has a voice. And we've kind of grown up with this attitude, especially when it comes to things like YouTube and Facebook, that someone is going to comment on there, someone's going to do something on there that's going to voice, we hate you. You have to grow up and learn that you have to ignore them.
Yeah, I really want to tackle that in the next episode. That whole idea that for some reason everybody thinks their opinion matters on every topic, which is a whole nother can of worms. And honestly, it is, because, I mean, you can, everything these days you can post comments on news articles and all that stuff. And it's just, half of it's just arrogant idiocy, but that's a whole other argument. Keeping it on Facebook, for you as a teenager who's grown up more with Facebook, I mean, you're still a little bit older than, per se, like a 14-year-old or something whose life is on Facebook. I mean, for you, how has Facebook, I guess, been an impact throughout your entire journey, you know, through middle school, high school? I mean, we didn't have that till, like we said, in college.
Yeah.
Facebook started, like, for me, late in college, like pretty much my senior year, you know, maybe a little sooner in college. But for you, it's been there since you were old enough to sign up.
It's something you grow up kind of learning over the years, especially when you're basically born with technology, is you grow up and it's so much easier to compare yourself to the next guy when you're connected and you can see what they're doing. Oh, that person went to a party. Oh, he has more friends than, look how many friends he has. Well, I'm stuck at home. Things like that. It's so much easier to compare yourself to the next guy when you can see almost every aspect of their life.
Yeah. That is, I was actually reading an article not too long ago about that. Wish I could actually source it for you better, but I don't remember that. But they're actually talking about it's not an officially recognized diagnosis, but it's considered like social media depression, where it's basically you constantly only view other people's social media where it's like, oh, this person's on, oh, look all these great parties that, you look through their photos, like, oh, this person's all these amazing great things, or they've got 3,000 friends and I've got 20. It's like constantly comparing yourself to everybody else on Facebook that causes depression. It's another side effect of this always connected environment. But yeah, like, absolutely, we're going to talk more about this social media issue in the next few videos. We'll probably talk a little bit more about bullying specifically with Facebook and other social media. But we're going to, I'm wrapping things up, so any final thoughts on social media?
Facebook in particular.
As far as what Dave said about the Facebook Live thing, something that's hit me as a thought is, when it comes to things like Facebook Live and other live streaming services, it's basically has taken out the need for a suicide note at this point. You don't need to just write down what you were feeling when you can literally just tell them over Facebook and then not realize that they're watching you this time. And not to mention, and one thing I will say from the perspective of someone who actually lost a parent, is it was very easy to, it was much easier to feel the immediate support of people who are reaching out to you. I can't tell you how many times I received a text message or a Facebook message from someone offering condolences, even people I hadn't talked to in years or even knew their name.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. I mean, it's not like Facebook's inherently evil, or there's just this mixed bag that we gotta be very, very, like, intentional on and cautious in how we're using it, to be wise about it, to use this tool, this great tool that's out there for great benefits, that we can do, and the connectedness that we can have with people that we otherwise wouldn't be. So old friends from college, family that's out of town, I got family that lives in Florida, other cousins that are in France and Omaha, Nebraska, and, all these different places. Well, you can connect on Facebook and keep in touch with each other, and it works really nice that way instead of, so.
Yeah.
There's benefits, but it's noticing the downsides that it's been used for, so that we can be intentional on what we're doing on it to focus on the positive aspects and use those positive aspects.
So I guess just to sum everything up today with our Facebook talk is, at the end of the day, Facebook is a tool. It can be used, there are negatives of it, obviously. It can be used for good. It's all a matter of how you use it. But yeah, we're going to continue this conversation talking about social media in the future, probably more conversations about Facebook as well. So stay tuned in the future. Make sure that you like this video if you like it, subscribe below, and we will see you next time.